Still hiding your confidence because your outfit isn't doing the talking? My name is Wuraola Ubaka. I am called your profitable fashion coach because if your business isn't making money, why are you even in business? At Wura, we don't just make clothes. We create statements. Our timeless ready-to-wear pieces are created for the woman who walks in grace, owns her space, and turns heads effortlessly. And if you are a fashionpreneur struggling to turn your talent into real income, especially if you are stuck in bespoke and want to transition to ready-to-wear, the Profitable Fashionpreneur Academy is your next step. We teach fashion creatives how to structure, scale, and sell profitably. From the woman who wears it to the woman who makes it. Confidence and profits go hand in hand. Wura dresses you. The PFA builds you. So come, join the movement. Wear confidence and build profits with Wura and the Profitable Fashionpreneur Academy. From DMs to deposits, how to turn fashion inquiries into actual bankable money. My name is Wuraola Ubaka, and I am called your one and only profitable fashion coach. Because if your business is not making money, why are you even in business? Welcome to another Fashionpreneurs Friday Live. Today, we shall be exploring what happens. How do you turn DM inquiries into actual bankable profits? That's what we're going to be doing today. Who's excited? I am super duper excited. So let's run through it. Now, you have done your fashion collection. You have created the content, and the customer has finally landed in your DM. They have finally sent you a message on WhatsApp. They have finally said, I'm interested. How much is this item? But that doesn't automatically translate into money in your bank account, does it? No, it doesn't. So what we are going to be exploring tonight is how to move from inquiries to actual income. Because at the end of the day, this is the Profitable Fashionpreneur Academy. We are about the money. So what is the problem? Your creativity deserves to be compensated, not just complimented. It's not enough for people to say, oh, this dress is so beautiful. Wow, wonderful, beautiful art of creation. Oh, the thought, oh, they're just beautiful, beautiful. And then after the beautiful, what happens? No money. Your creativity actually deserves to be compensated. Now, how do we get that compensation? When the Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28 to be fruitful and multiply, fruitfulness means results. And results in this instance is actually money in the bank. If the money is not in the bank, then there are no results. That is the end product of all that we do. Yes, we're trying to build customer loyalty. We're trying to build cult following. We're trying to build a legacy brand. But we need money to make that impact. And that money is going to be able to come if you walk through the ecosystem of your business correctly and completely. So let's move. Now, what's the problem? People are asking, but they are not buying. People say, oh, I love this. Oh, this is so beautiful. How much is this? And then you reply. And then there are crickets. Crickets. You reply, and then there are crickets. What do we do about the crickets? What do we do about the crickets? It is not enough to be visible. You have to be profitable because likes don't pay rent. Sales pay rent. So we want to move from visibility to conversion. So let's talk about what happens after your lead. What happens after your lead? Now, what is the missing link? The missing link is the conversion gap between lead and conversion. That's the missing link. So most fashion entrepreneurs know how to create attention. You know how to do that content that is mad. Last week we talked about the type of content that you should create, and what content block you should create, whether you are trying to, sell a transformation, sell a lifestyle, sell a story. and what you should do. So yes, after we finish doing that and we have gotten people to be interested in our product, they've seen it, they like it, they trust it, what do we do next? That is what we are talking about. What do we do next? Now let's explore some reasons why your leads don't convert. People don't buy because they are not yet convinced that it is safe to buy from you. And so when you see a customer that is not buying, you want to ask yourself, what is making this customer not buy? What is the why? What is the objection behind this customer that is saying, okay, I'm not going to buy this dress? You need to know why, because if you don't know why, then you don't know how to address those objections, and you don't know how to move that customer from being confused, being afraid, being insecure, being unsure about whether you will deliver, to actually opening up their wallet and giving you the money. So let's look at 3 reasons why your leads don't convert. Let's look at 3 reasons why your lead don't convert. Number 1, there's buyer friction. Between your DM and conversion, there's an unclear system of your conversion. So your buyer doesn't know what to do. So someone enters your DM. How much is this item? You say 10,000. What size is it? This. What is this? They're asking you questions and you're answering one. Is it possible for you to create a system that helps the buyer have a bird's eye view of the process that it will take for them to consummate that sale? Is it possible for that system to be clear, for it to be understandable? That is what you need to do. You need to actually go ahead and put in a system that helps the buyer move from I want this to I'm paying you. So that's what you need to. You need to look at how to actually create that that ecosystem that makes it easy for people to buy from you. So if your buying process is stressful or is unclear, you need to simplify it. Simplify your checkout, automate what you can automate, switch to using a website as opposed to using the DMs. And if you're in the DMs, actually train your sales representatives, or train yourself on how to actually handle objections and move your customers down that funnel. How to actually make that sale process seamless, from, oh, I need the payment link or the bank account, confirmation of payment and all that. You want to shorten the steps as much as possible so that you can prevent that buyer friction. So what you want to do is simplify checkout, automate DMs, use quick links, use things that actually make it easy for the customer to move down that funnel. Now, let's look at another reason. So I've looked at friction. That's the 3 F's. I've looked at friction. The first F is friction. The second F is fear. So you're afraid. You're afraid that buyers are not, you're afraid that, so now when I say you, I'm talking about the buyer. The buyer is afraid that they can't trust you. What if I pay this person and they run away without my money? What if I do what I ordered and what I got? What if I pay them and they send something that is not what I wanted? What if they don't deliver this thing and it gets to me on time before I travel? What if you need to understand what the customer objection is so that you can know how to handle it? So yes, there are some customers who come into the DM and they get stuck because they are afraid to buy from you. So what do? You want to be able to show proof. You want to be able to show proof that you are what you say you are who you say you are, you will deliver when you say you deliver how you say you deliver, and you deliver exactly what you have promised to deliver. That's the proof you need to be showing. So you need to be able to move that customer from uncertainty to certainty through your proof. That's what you need to do. So let's look at the third F. The third F is follow-up failure. So yes, I always tell those in the PFA Ready to Wear bootcamp that the fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. Your follow-up is where your money lies. And even for the people who run my team, so if you may not know, I'm also the founder and creative director of Wura. And Wura is a Nigerian ready-to-wear fashion brand. We make classy dresses that fit just right for confident women. So just putting that out there, you want to check our page at wura.ng on Instagram and across all social media channels. So now, One of the things I tell my sales representatives most times is that anytime that we're like, okay, we need extra money, I'm like, enter the DMs, check the DMs, check the DMs, enter the DMs, follow up, follow up. Your fortune is in follow up. You can just sit down to follow up and you just see that you're releasing 6 figures in one day just because you followed up. Especially when that follow up is at a good timing. You know, if you live somewhere that you have a lot of people in salaried employment, you want to be able to calculate your follow-up. Or when do people get paid? Okay, let me see the people that have sent DMs throughout this month. Then you have to have a follow-up strategy for your business. Because if you don't have a follow-up strategy for your business, you're going to have a lot of low-hanging fruits. People will come, they'll ask, some people forget, some people go. So your fortune is in your follow-up. You want to be able to follow up with grace and follow up not with pressure, but with grace. You want to be able to ask questions gracefully, nudge them gracefully, and follow up with them to see that they actually go ahead and buy. Ease builds trust, and trust builds transactions. That's something you want to remember every time you go through your customer journey. So I've dealt with 3 reasons that your leads don't convert, and you can simplify them into 3 F's: the friction, fear, and follow-up. So for friction, you want to make the buyer process seamless and easy to follow. For fear, you want to understand why the customer is afraid, what is the objection of the customer, and then you want to come up with practical strategies to overcome those objections so that you can move that customer down the ladder. Now, for follow-up, you can't get tired of follow-up. Your fortune is in your follow-up. So you want to be able to create a system of follow-up within your team, within your organization, within your ecosystem of your business that ensures that you are not leaving money on the table. The fortune is in the follow-up. So now, imagine that you are a busy professional, but you saw this dress on Instagram and you really like it. You look at the brand, you send a message. Okay, how much is this? Crickets. Nobody answers you. You move on. You continue your day. You're like, okay, maybe later. And then you forget. And then guess what? Nobody follows you up. Nobody follows you up. You just move. So you need to actually be able to follow up. You need to be able to follow up. So that's what you want to do. Now, if we look at Luke chapter 16 verse 10. It's a Bible verse that I repeat it all the time. I say it to my team, I say it to myself. I use it to remind myself of how important, beginnings are and how important faithfulness is. The Bible in Luke chapter 16 verse 10 tells us that it is he who is faithful in little that is faithful in much. Now, that Bible verse did not say, he who is faithful may be, shall be, will be. It says, if you are faithful in little, you are faithful in much. So your faithfulness in following up that customer, your faithfulness in actually doing the things you need to do to push that sale down is going to show the customer that you care, that you value, that you honor the customer, and it's going to make the customer endear towards you. Buying and selling is more of a relationship than anything else. If you want to build a cult following of people who see your brand like a home, you have to move from being transactional to actually being empathetic to the customer. You need to actually be walking in the customer's shoes. It is only when you walk in the customer's shoes that you'll be able to actually create systems that move that customer down the funnel. And that's why in the PFA Ready to Wear bootcamp, one of the first things we do is making you understand your customer. You do that in week 1 of the bootcamp, because every other thing that you do in your ecosystem is going to be built around that customer. But how can you cater to someone that you don't even know? How can you cater to someone you haven't defined? How can you cater to someone you don't understand? So you don't know the person's needs. You don't know how the person wants to feel, how the person wants to, interact with your brand. And that's why customer differentiation and identification and clarity is so important. If you know you are a fashion entrepreneur and clarity has been a problem for you, you really want to get into the PFA Ready to Wear bootcamp. That's where the magic happens. And that's why we actually created the bootcamp, so that we can move people from struggling to clear. We want to be able to give you clarity in the things you do, so that you are actually able to create systems that are hitting the customer at their problem points, at their pain points. I always say that money is an exchange for value, and that value needs to meet the customer at the point of their needs. Think about that time that someone gave you something, maybe a dress, maybe money, maybe something. Maybe you were trying to get married and someone gave you a veil. You're just like, oh my God, how did you know that this was what I wanted? This is just what I need right now. So you want to really be able to create that system where you are meeting the customer at the point of their needs. Now, so when you honor your leads, when you honor one lead with care, with clarity, with communication, you prove that you can handle more. The truth of the matter is that if you are not faithful to that one little customer, God is not going to give you more customers. That's the truth. And it's not prayer and fasting. It really isn't. It's just a principle of life. If you're faithful in little, you are faithful in much. I can sit down here and say, oh, okay, we're just starting out, we don't really have a lot of people. So this is my Fashionpreneur Live Friday live. I say, okay, I'll be coming to teach for free. And I know people don't join this stream, so I will not bother showing up. But it's not about the multitude, it's about the one. It's about that person you are sent to. When you show God that you can take care of this one, he will bring more. That's the principle. And showing him you can take care is not despising that person who has sent you a DM. Every DM is a DM you should follow. You follow it up like you follow up your salvation. That's how you follow it. So let's move. Now, let's think about a follow-up framework. How do we create a follow-up framework? Because remember, I have said the fortune is in the follow-up. So how do we create a follow-up framework? Number one, you want to be able to respond fast. Respond fast. Your response should be fast, it should be warm, it should be clear. A fast, warm, and clear response is more likely to get you into conversion mode than a slow response. So you want to be able to say, hello, ma'am, hello, sir, thank you for your inquiry. Thank you for checking out our latest collection. This piece is a customer's favorite. I can help you find your size. Let me know your size, your length, and I can get back to you immediately. And you stay on that conversation. You don't send a message and you see the customer is being engaged and you disappear. You stay on that customer, you stay on that conversation until you finish. And yeah, of course, you have to understand that there are different type of buyers. So if you don't understand your buyer profile, you won't even know how to convert this lead to DMs. And understanding buyers and buyer profiles, those are part of the things we did teach in depth in the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp. When we teach you Marketing Week, we show you handheld implementation strategies so that you can understand who is in your DM at every point in time and you know how to address that person. Because different buyers have different needs. But if you do not know who the buyer is, you will not know how to respond to them in a way that will move them down that funnel. So you want to be able to respond fast, warm, and clear. Step 2, you want to be able to follow up gracefully. So check back gratefully. Hello, ma'am. I'm just checking in to see if you found your favorite color. Do you have a problem finding your favorite size? Do you need help? I see you may be overwhelmed with choices. We do have a lot of choices. Is there anything you would like me to do to help you streamline your options? Do you have any color preferences or size preferences so that I can recommend outfits that fit your lifestyle and your color? You need to be able to follow up with grace. Follow up like you understand where this customer is and you understand what you want to do for the customer. Now, what do you now want to do the third time after the sale? So I've talked about responding fast. I've talked about checking back gracefully. So now the person has bought. Hooray, we have bought. What happened next? So after the sale, you want to be able to go back and tell the customer, thank you so much for shopping with us. We've added 1,000 naira to your next order. So you get 1,000 naira off your next order. What are you trying to do? You're trying to build customer retention. You want to give them something to come back to. Imagine, I actually know So there's this brand I shop from that every time you finish shopping, they give you a voucher. And because they give me that voucher, I'll now be saying, oh, this money they gave me, I don't want it to go away. I need to spend this money. So each time you shop something, they give you a voucher. So what happens? The next time you're looking for something that you want to buy, you're coming back with that voucher saying, oh, I have 10% off. Can I apply it to this order? Because it is easier to move customers that have bought from you once down your funnel. Customer acquisition is more costly than customer retention. It's easier to sell to your warm audience than to your cold audience. And if you don't know what warm and cold audience is, so your warm audience are people who have bought from you before, interacted with your brand, had something to do with you, while your cold audience are people that have never bought anything from you, know nothing about you, and have nothing to do with you. So you're trying to basically convince them, from the get-go that you are the real deal. That's the difference between your cold and your warm audience. So you want to be able to create a system of customer retention within your sales process. What method will I use to actually get the customer to come back again? What method will I use to make sure the customer chooses me again? And it's important to remember when we are doing all this. I say it all the time. If you have followed through this page and you follow through our Fashionpreneur Friday lives, you'll see that I always say, please, before we start all these things, we assume that there's mastery. We assume that you know what you're doing. We assume that you know how to do it properly. So please, if you don't have mastery, you want to be able to actually go back and see that you have mastery. We don't want a what you ordered versus what you got. We are saying when people come into your DMs, what do we do to convert them? Not when we now finish doing all this struggle to finish converting them. You go back and then the things you're actually giving them are not what they have ordered. They're not going to come back. If you like, give them 1 million naira voucher. If what you sent to them does not meet the customer expectation, they ain't gonna come back. Is that simple? And then you say, but these people say if you give voucher, they will come back. Please, I'm saying if you give voucher and you have a good product, if you have a good product, you have a good service, you give a voucher, they will come back. You have a silly product, a product that is unrefined, a product that is not worth the value that you place on that product. You give it to a customer, they buy once. If you like, give them 1 million naira voucher, they're not going to come back. So remember that this is a whole ecosystem. In the Profitable Fashionpreneur Academy Ready to Wear Bootcamp, we teach this ecosystem from point A to point Z and beyond. Because we understand that sales and customer retention doesn't just happen after the dress is made. It happens by how you structure your business from the beginning to the end. Because these cracks show. Customers can see the cracks. That's the thing. If you have a system that doesn't work seamlessly, your customer knows. So you want to be able to ensure that you have a system that just works seamlessly all the time. All right, so let's move. So what's the system? How do we turn follow-up into flow? How do we do that? You want to create a repeatable process, not a random effort. You want to be able to have a documented, repeatable process of follow-ups that anybody that comes into your organization, or even if the person is not even in your organization, you have a younger brother, you have a son that is in his teens, you have a niece, a cousin, you say, take this document, enter, this is my login, enter my DM, follow up these people using the script. You want to be able to create a system that is repeatable, so that even if it's not even you, you can actually have other people doing the follow-up. So how do you create this repeatable system? You use something called SOPs to create them. And I mean, SOPs are simply standard organization procedures. So you create a procedure through which you want that follow-up to happen. Of course, you know your brand, so you know what you need to go back in to say, okay, this is the procedure. Number 1, do this. Number 2, do this. Number 3, do this. Number 4, do this. If this happens, do this. That's what you need to now create. If you don't know how to create an SOP creation is a whole week's curriculum. in the PFA Profit Circle. It's a whole week. We have a whole week dedicated to teaching you how to create SOPs. And the beauty about how we teach SOPs in the Profit Circle is that you can actually really translate it to every aspect of your operations. And that's what you want to do. Because if you don't have that, you will not be able to create a system that is continuously repeatable. And it is that repeatability that brings profitability. Yes, the repeatability brings profitability. So you want to be able to create that system even in your follow-up. So let's look at how you can create constant trust. How do you create constant trust and instant trust with your customer? Number one, you can share proof. Share customers' photos, share kind works from customers, share things that show that, your customer receives, share customer video testimonials if you have, customer lifestyle posts, videos. You want to be able to share that to show social proof. How else can you show proof? How else can you create instant trust? You need to learn to speak with honor, not hustle. You need to learn to speak from a place of authority, not a place of desperation. And it's a fine line. But this fine line is part of what we teach you at the Profit Circle. Because you don't just come and just start being all beggarly. There's a method to this, to the way these things are done, that make the customer know that this person knows their worth, values themselves, values the brand, and values me too. So you want to be able to position yourself in that place of authority that shows that you can actually meet the customer's need or exceed the customer's expectation and still hold yourself in high regard and hold the customer in high regard. There are some people that when you enter they are basically begging you. Before you even say one thing, they say, I can give you a discount. You're just begging for the sale. It means that you've not even understood the place that you hold as a business owner. You don't even understand that. The next thing you want to do is to give clear steps. Let your customer understand the clear steps. When you do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this. It can sound something like this. Please confirm to us your size and your color preference. Once we get the confirmation, you can make payments to blah 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 blah. You give them the name, this thing, and then after payment, please send your proof of purchase along with your name, phone, delivery address. Our delivery take 3 to 5 business days, and then so just list out all your processes. Let the steps be clear so that your customer, from before they actually decide to open their wallet, knows that, okay, this is what I'm getting. You don't want to come in the middle and then now change your mind. They are now having a different experience from what you said you would do. So you need to be able to do what you say you will do when you say you will do it. Next thing you want to do is make your payment process seamless. Now, if you're someone who receives international orders particularly, I know that when I first started my brand, Wura, receiving international order payments was something that I had to create a system around, because I found that 1 or 2 sales slipped through me because I was not prepared to receive those international orders. So you need to create a payment system that, irrespective of how the person is paying, irrespective of where the person is paying from, because remember, I am talking to ready-to-wear business owners, people who want to start, scale, or transition, or people who are already running ready-to-wear business owners, or who are already running ready-to-wear fashion labels. So you want to now be able to say, okay, these are the payment methods. You can pay through PayPal, Teller, this link, direct bank transfer. You need to give your customer options. And obviously, understanding who your customer is helps you know the options that you need to have prepared ahead of time. It's not when the customer now wants to buy, they're not saying, oh, I'm in America, how do I pay you? You start running helter-skelter. Kitty, kata, 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 kata. But you can only do that if you do not understand your customer. And that's why, like I said, in the bootcamp, we first start by you understanding your customer. Because if you understand your customer, you'll be prepared for them. Many of the reasons why we lose sales in the DM, why our leads don't convert, is because you were not prepared for the person who entered your DM. You were not prepared. They say People are lucky, but like I say all the time, luck is preparation meets opportunity. So the person wanted to buy, she needed to wear that dress for a wedding, and you were positioned to collect that sale. You were positioned to collect that sale. So you really want to be able to create that system that positions you to collect the sale. So you want to create instant trust by, number one, showing proof, number two, speaking with honor, number three, giving clear next steps, number four, making payment frictionless, and number five, celebrating the buyer. Some of you, when they give you the money, thank you, I've received your payment, finish, that's all. You don't say anything again. You don't celebrate the buyer. You don't celebrate the buyer. Thank you so much for your order. We just did a happy dance. Every time you buy for us, you are putting money in the pockets of the skilled artisans who work at Wura. Thank you for taking time to go through our this and actually spend your hard-earned money for us. That is an honor we do not take for granted, and we look forward to serving you more in the future. You need to be able to have a process that celebrates the buyer after payment. Everybody likes to feel appreciated. So the easiest brand to buy from is one that feels safe. The easiest brand to buy from is one that feels safe. So let's move. Why do most fashionpreneurs burn out? So some of you are not in the DMs because you're always burnt out. You are so busy creating that you forget that if you don't make out time to actually now attend to these customer orders, all that work you're putting in creating is going to go to waste. Because at the end of the day, na the pali, which how much of that work is translating into money in your bank account. That is where the profit starts from. That's not where it ends. In the bootcamp, I show you that profits are a sum total of a series of events. That it's not one isolated incident. Profits are not one isolated incident. There is some total of a lot of little incidences that you do and do and do, and it eventually accumulates to give you that profit margin, to give you that edge. So you need to remember that you should not confuse movement with momentum. The fact that you're posting, the fact that you're having leads does not mean that we convert. If you do not actually put in the systems that allow these leads convert, the leads will not convert. If you don't put in the systems that allow the leads convert, the leads will not convert. So you want to be able to put in that system. Now, this system and these structures are exactly what we teach in the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp. They are exactly what we teach in the bootcamp. And that is why I always say, if you're a fashion entrepreneur who is trying to go into ready to wear, if you're someone who knows someone who is trying to go into ready to wear, or if you're someone who knows someone who has been in ready to wear, but the ready to wear is not ready to wear, the fashion business is not businessing. You're like, this your business, it's not the one that other people are doing. You want to actually get that person into the PFA Ready to Wear bootcamp. So you want to actually now be able to create that system. And this system is what we hold your hand and teach you how to do in the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp. We teach you what to do in the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp. Now, how is the bootcamp structured? The bootcamp is a 12 weeks, 90 days experience that teaches you how to start, how to scale, how to build a profitable, structured, and scalable ready-to-wear brand. So inside the bootcamp, we help you understand customer clarity, legal framework, understanding your SOPs, your inventories, your measurements, your fabrics. We help you understand your production chain, production timelines, content, marketing, hiring. And we do this in a structured way of implementation that every day we give you step-by-step tools that move you from point A to point B. The truth of the matter is that you cannot enter the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp and not experience a transformation. There is nobody out there that is giving the amount of detail that we give in the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp. And I do say so myself. So if you know that you struggle, then you want to actually be able to get into the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp, because believe me, that is your salvation. Now, the next cohort of the bootcamp actually starts on the 1st of November 2025. Team, can you move that? The next cohort of the bootcamp actually starts on the 1st of November 2025, and it actually runs for 3 months. So it's going to start on the 1st of November 2025, and it's going to end on the 31st of January 2025. So 3 months, 1st November to 31st January 2026. If you know that you need this help, it is really your call to get into that bootcamp. I think we have, today is the 16th, so we have 14 days or 15 days to the bootcamp. Once it's the 1st of November, the arc will be locked, and then of course you're going to have to wait on the next cohort. 3 months is too long for you to go on making mistakes in your fashion business. So this evening we have learned how to actually turn leads into conversions, how to turn I like it into kaching, I've paid the money. And I have said that you need to understand the 3 F's of your buyer journey, from friction to fear to follow-up failure. Those are the 3 reasons why your leads are not converting. And you need to know how to now create a system to make those leads convert. Then you also need to remember that the fortune is in the follow-up. And if you don't take anything out of this class today, you want to actually remember that the fortune is in the follow-up. Then you want to create a system that is repeatable. You want to be able to create a repeatable process for your follow-up. Create a process that anybody can step into, that you can give others to help you with if you're just starting and you haven't hired your first team. You don't have to have someone in-house who is following up. You can have a remote worker who or an intern, who you are actually teaching, and you're just paying a small fee. But your follow-up is not something that you want to leave to chance. It is something that you want to plan. And then I've also told you that part of the reasons why your leads are not converting is because even though you are praying for the leads, you are not prepared for them. You have not understood who they are. You've not understood their objections. You don't have ready answers for those objections, and you don't know how to move them down the funnel. So you need to create a system that helps you do this. And if you know everything I've said is sounding like gibberish to you, then the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp is where you want to be. The details to register for the bootcamp are being shown on your screen right now, and you want to actually be able to follow these details and register for the bootcamp. You can message the number on your screen, or you can purchase directly from seller. My name is Wuraola Obaka, and I am called your one, your only profitable fashion coach. If I am not coaching you to move your business into profitability, then I don't know who is. If your business is not making money, why are you being in business? This has been our Fashionpreneur Friday Forum, and it's actually time to take questions. If you have questions relating to leads, if you have questions relating to follow-up, if you have questions relating to conversions, you can drop it in the comment section. I'll give 1 or 2 minutes to see if we get any question, and if we don't, then we are going to call it a night. And while we're waiting for questions, I'm going to remind you that by 9 p.m., we're going to be live across all channels, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, where we will actually be sharing my profitable fashionpreneur journey. So yes, another person from the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp is going to be coming up to share her own testimonial. She's going to share what has happened to her in the bootcamp through her own eyes. I love my profitable fashionpreneur journeys because it's really something that even I love to hear. Most of these stories, I've never heard them before. I hear them just like you on the live stream of what has actually happened since these fashionpreneurs entered the PFA Ready to Wear Bootcamp. So you want to actually join in for that conversation. All right. So I think we don't have any questions since I haven't seen any in the comment board. So I think this is a good place to call it a night. Thank you so much. This is the Fashionpreneurs Friday Forum. We meet here by 7 p.m. every Friday without fail. So I'll see you same time, same station next week Friday. And of course, don't forget to join in by 9 p.m. for our Fashionpreneurs, for my profitable fashionpreneur journey. See you then. Have a nice day and good night. Still hiding your confidence because your outfit isn't doing the talking? My name is Wuraola Ubaka. I am called your profitable fashion coach because if your business isn't making money, why are you even in business? At Wura, we don't just make clothes. We create statements. Our timeless ready-to-wear pieces are created for the woman who walks in grace, owns her space, and turns heads effortlessly. And if you are a fashionpreneur struggling to turn your talent into real income, especially if you are stuck in bespoke and want to transition to ready-to-wear, the Profitable Fashionpreneur Academy is your next step. We teach fashion creatives how to structure, scale, and sell profitably. From the woman who wears it to the woman who makes it. Confidence and profits go hand in hand. Wura dresses you. The PFA builds you. So come, join the movement, wear confidence, and build profits with Wura and the Profitable Fashionpreneur Academy.